All right, welcome back. Lots of stuff going on around the world, but you know what? I went out to dinner last night. Staten Island, New York, and New York City open for phase 2, so outdoor dining. And every night this week, I'm going to a different restaurant in my community to support the local business owners. Last night I was out at DeLuca's, had a fine meal with Frank Morano, Glenn Yost, a bunch of great guys. George Passarella was there. And I got to tell you, people come up to me and say, "Hey, I watched Liquid Lunch. You're pretty funny. You look like an idiot." And you know, but somebody said, "I love Liquid Lunch because you don't just stay on the same crap like Evan. You have these other guests." And one of my favorites, I'm keeping her around for double duty, is Lauren Conlin, who lightens the mood, beautifies your television screen, and knows a heck of a lot of how to entertain yourself. So we got cut off there in the last one. We finished talking about King of Staten Island, Lauren, but there's this other movie, The Five Bloods, Spike Lee movie. Give us your rundown on that.
Well, first, thank you for saying such nice things about me. That was very kind of you, John. I appreciate that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been sitting here idly by watching Frank beat the heck out of you for the last couple of months, so I figure we're in fertile territory.
I deserve that. Thank you so much.
Okay.
But
you needed
The Five Bloods, this is a new Spike Lee movie that I watched, and it was so good. It was extremely violent, I will say that. So it felt a little Tarantino-ish at times, and I'm sure Spike Lee would hate for someone to say that because it's a Spike Lee movie, not a Tarantino movie, but it's about 4 Vietnam vets that return to Vietnam to find something that they left behind. That's all I'll say, so I don't give anything away. But Delroy Lindo, Norm Lewis, and actually Paul Walter Hauser, who plays Richard Jewell in the film, who I just interviewed for my podcast, is in it as well. So we talked about all things related to the film. He was so cool. He said Spike Lee took them all out to dinner as well. But This movie is a must watch. It's actually very timely as well, which is just kind of random and funny about it. But it's about 2 hours and 30 minutes. So make sure that you start it early so you don't fall asleep.
Eek. Well, you know what? The sign of a good movie for me is to get through half of it without falling asleep. And it took me about 4 watchings to get through. They call me Dolomite. And first I was down on it until I sat back and watched the whole thing, and then I loved it. So sometimes you got to be a little more committed to watching these things when you could think. A little later in the show, Lauren, we're going to have on Lorenzo Antonucci, who appeared in Game of Thrones and Ballers, and he has a lead role in the new movie Cracker, where a white supremacist cop gets thrust back in time where blacks rule and whites are slaves. It's like a role reversal movie. We're going to talk to Lorenzo Antonucci on that. But maybe you could give us, for next week, one of your professional reviews of Cracker also.
Oh my gosh, that sounds really intense. I would love to. I'm definitely going to watch it.
All right. Well, Lauren, we have to leave it there. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence.
Anytime, Don. This was so fun.
Speaking of Cracker, I don't know if you heard yesterday, but Ritz is no longer going to make cracker. They're making gender-neutral, non-denominational wafer breads from now on. Breaking news. This just in. We'll take a quick break. We're going to come back with public interest attorney John Banzaf. He's also a law professor at the George Washington University Law School. And guess what? These thugs and hooligans came on the campus of George Washington University and beheaded George Washington. So the last thing you want to do is tick off a guy like John Banzaf, because when he swings big. We're going to take a quick break and we'll come out swinging right after this.